The comments heard on The View from a Pew are those of Mac McCoy and are not necessarily the opinions of his guests, his producer Garth, any one particular denomination or religion, the church lady, Mr. Lemke, Pastor Craig, or anyone else of sound mind and body. Now, here is today's The View from a Pew, heard all around the world on YouTube. Just search for The View from a Pew.
Thank you, Emily. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, depending on when you're watching or listening to this. It's being recorded and broadcast live on the 4th of July. I try to always have really special shows on the 4th of July. It's kind of a tradition for me. I always worked on the 4th when everybody else was not working. I was working there because I felt it was a day that we should meet people who have an appreciation for life, who follow Jesus, loves their country, and I found a young man. Actually, you were introduced to me by Mike and Sherry, so I give them kudos from Next 24. Ricky C. Simmons is his name, and he played football for the University of Nebraska. But before that, when you played ball in high school, by the way, Texas is not an easy place to play high school.
No, they're
football.
very serious.
You had 5 routines
Yeah.
or...
It was like a 5-thing ritual.
Yeah, a ritual. I like that term.
Yeah.
Before each game. And what were those 5 things?
Well, I would drink 1 Old English 800 malt liquor. I smoked 2 Redbud Colombian joints. I drink a half a bottle of Robitussin DM cough syrup, half a bottle of Thunderbird wine, and then I would take 20 milligrams of Valiums. Then I would go play football.
Did you ever get hurt and didn't realize you were hurt because you were so doped up?
I don't remember.
Okay.
All I know is that I started every game as a junior, and then as a senior, I played defensive back as a junior, and then my senior year they put me at running back, and I led the state of Texas in rushing after 10 games, and,
wow.
I don't remember anything.
And what I think is amazing, it wasn't your passion. It was kind of like your job.
It was a gift and a passion in a way, because the passion was because I was getting what I wanted.
Yeah.
But the gift was I could do it without trying.
Yeah, right. I get that.
Yeah.
You were very talented.
Yeah, it was a gift
Naturally.
from God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like I worked at it.
No, I always tell people about that with my radio career. I learned a few skills, but
Yeah.
I was born talking.
Right.
You know, my grandma used to give me a quarter if I'd stand up and sing "I'm a Little Teapot," and I had to do the stuff, and so
I got you.
never was afraid of talking to people. So as you progressed into your career, can you remember a date that was really a disaster for you?
Football wise?
Or your life?
Okay, well.
Not necessarily sports.
Yeah, well, gosh, I guess I got to kind of build to that.
Okay.
It started in the USFL when I got introduced to cocaine.
Yep.
I didn't know that I was addicted. It just, I would do cocaine all night, and then I would play sports all day. And I looked at the check every Tuesday. That was how simple it was for me.
Yeah.
After my first season, we lost so many games, they sold our team. The next year they sold us to Orlando, so we were the Orlando Renegades. Same thing, just picked up where I left off the first season. So after the second season, the league folded, and I was picked up by the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh.
And I was actually brought in with a lot of hype, nice contract, and I was going to be the man at receiver, but I was doing cocaine prior to the first game, and cocaine convinced me that football was actually getting in the way of my using. So I had a talk with cocaine on a Thursday night, or Wednesday night, I'm sorry, and Thursday morning I went into the Atlanta Falcons head coach's office and told him I quit. And they thought I was joking because, they're like, we're going to feature you this weekend against the Saints. I'm like, they said, go get dressed, little Cornhusker. We'll talk about it after practice.
Little Cornhusker.
Yeah, because Nebraska had this image of all these big, huge guys.
Oh, yeah.
Here I was, 5'10", 180, you know. So they nicknamed me Little Cornhusker.
Okay.
Well, I said, okay, I'll go get dressed, but I didn't go get dressed. I left the facility. I went to my car.
Okay.
and I never came back. So I missed Fridays practice, Saturdays practice, missed the game Sunday, and they released me on Monday. And when they released me, then I went into a 25-year cocaine addiction.
Oh my gosh. Didn't Ricky C. Simmons is my guest today on this 4th of July, and what a great story you have about beating drugs and alcohol, and now you spend your life sharing it with young
absolutely,
people and
yeah.
everything. But wasn't there a coach at some point in high school or college or at the Falcons that said, "Hey, you can't do that stuff"? Or did nobody know?
No one knew.
No one knew.
Yeah, because my performance on the field never fell off. I was still playing at a really high level, so no one knew.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you worry that what it would do to your heart?
I was 10 feet tall and bulletproof at that time,
Okay.
so I didn't worry about much of anything.
Yeah.
It was a totally different mindset from most people that you would call addicts.
So you walk away from a professional football career
Yes.
because you wanted to, not
Yeah.
because you were
Yeah.
fired.
No, I never wanted to play in the beginning. It was a 5th grade deal that I made with my dad. Got carried away.
Were your folks alive then when you were playing?
Yes,
All right, good.
yes.
What did your dad say when he found out you quit?
He was not very happy at all.
I bet.
No, he didn't understand it. But my parents, may they rest in peace, they had this thing called unconditional love.
Yeah.
And
So hard to find.
yeah, very rare in today's world. But they never turned their back on me, and they never disowned me or put me out. Now, they weren't proud at all.
Right.
And my dad was very vocal about that.
Yeah.
You know, he was a World War II veteran with a very loud voice.
Yeah.
And he would let me know on a day-to-day basis that what I was doing was not pleasing.
Yeah.
They
knew.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice about it, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
my dad was not happy. And my mom wasn't happy either, but she was such a sweet lady. She just loved me.
And so your mom and dad knew you were doing cocaine
They knew.
and drinking.
Well, yeah, they knew it because everybody was telling them. I mean,
right.
I'm from a small town in Texas.
Okay.
I mean, everybody knew everybody.
So when you left the Falcons, did you go down back home to Texas?
Yes, I went back to Texas.
And did you live with your folks?
I did.
How'd you do that?
I just never was home.
Okay.
I would
Your father and mom, especially your father, sound like they're pretty sharp.
Yeah. Oh, they're
They
both
would've
very
known.
sharp. Oh,
Yeah.
they knew. I
Okay.
mean, my parents were very educated people. They were 2 school teachers with master's degrees. There was nothing dumb about them. That's why I say my story is so different, because most people with my story, they either didn't know their parents or didn't know one of the parents, or one of them was a drug addict. No, my parents didn't smoke or drink or nothing.
You really had a very good, if not a great childhood.
Oh, there was an old TV show back in the day called Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was right along in that area.
Were you?
Yeah, I mean, it was like I didn't want for nothing. My parents owned like 10 rental properties. We owned half the neighborhood. So I don't have any excuse for what I'm sharing with you.
Ricky C. Simmons is my guest today on this 4th of July, and no matter when you're listening to this or watching it, I would encourage you to go to his YouTube page, which is just Ricky C. Simmons.
Yes.
And you've done a lot of speaking engagements nationally as well as locally.
Right.
And your passion is what?
My passion is helping people not make the bad choices that I made.
Okay. So if a young lady decided she was going to have an abortion rather than carry through with the birth of her child, would that be something you could help her with?
Well,
Because of your faith, I would think
my
so.
faith, but see, here's the deal with me. I'm a little different from most people. I need an 8-day week and a 30-hour day for Ricky. So I'm not in the position of trying to do God's job, which is judging people. Whatever's
8-day week and a 30-hour day.
Yeah, and
I'm
God.
writing that down.
Yeah, well, God don't give us with 24/7.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say in a nice way is, whether I agree with someone else's choices, I don't really indulge in that, because I think that's God's job to judge. I don't have an opinion on what someone should do. I try to stay in my lane, which is when people come to me, because, like, for example, I mentor like 15 people right now.
Okay.
But these people that I mentor, they understand also that when they start getting outside of the drug and alcohol and bad choices, I don't offer much advice, because I think that they have to live with their consequences. And if I tell you don't do this or do that,
Yeah.
and then it backfires, then you got an excuse.
Yeah.
No, I'm not giving up any excuses.
You and I have similarities there, because I've only known Jesus for 14 years.
Okay.
And when I used the term mugged me.
Mm-hmm.
And I used that term because I don't think I had a choice
Right.
of following him. I don't remember ever thinking, do I want to follow Jesus or not? It was kind of like a road to Damascus thing.
Right.
And boom, I was there. In the beginning, very self-righteous.
Mm-hmm.
Now I knew the Bible. Now I could tell you what sin you were committing.
Right.
And one day I did a radio program, and I kind of said some bad things about a certain sin some people were committing.
Yeah.
And one of those people, who was a good friend of mine, called me up in tears and says, "What are you doing? You're the guy that loves Jesus that I can send all my friends to, and I know you're not going to judge them."
Right.
And I asked my pastor, I said, "Is it my job to preach the gospel or to defend it?" And he said, "God's a big dude. He can defend himself."
Correct.
And for some reason, something happened to me, and I became a lot like you. I just had no more interest in pointing out sin.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that all the stuff that I see, which I don't see a lot because I don't watch television, first of all.
You don't?
No, I have no interest in television.
Really?
I watch movies
Yeah.
occasionally because I know what that is. That's a movie. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
But I don't watch a lot of television at all.
You stream a lot?
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
like I say, I'm kind of a different guy when it comes to, what people call normal living.
Yeah.
And it's not that anybody that watches TV is bad. No,
No.
I don't look at it like that.
No.
It's just I don't seem to get as much out of watching. You want to pick on somebody. Let's pick on the news.
Okay.
I don't get much from watching the news.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like when I watched it, or when I used to try to watch it, I seemed like I knew less when it went off than I did
Wow.
when it came on.
And they think you feel like they think you have stupid written on your forehead.
And that is very disrespectful to me.
Yes.
And I'm real big on respect.
I can imagine.
So I don't. Once I feel that disrespect, then I don't participate.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap up if we can, and then we'll
Okay.
come back for our last segment. I
Okay.
want to do one more with you.
Okay, that's fine.
But let's wrap up how things began to get worse when you moved home from Atlanta. You were living with your parents, but you were never home.
Right.
What were you doing to make a living?
Well, you got to keep in mind, the first 3 years of my addiction, I was playing pro ball. Money was not an object because the person that I was doing it with never let me pay for anything.
Oh,
And I had a pretty nice contract coming
Yeah.
out of college. And
so
then
you had saved a lot of money.
money was not an issue.
Okay.
And then my parents, I didn't come from broke parents. They were well off.
Yeah.
So money was not an issue for the first 5 years. You got to understand, I went from NFL, in 25 years, I went from the NFL to prison 4 times.
All right. And I want to start out when we come back for our last segment, your experience in prison.
Okay?
And by the way, thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah.
And you know this, but you really do help people.
Well, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
my goal and that's my passion.
but you're a humble man.
Very so.
And
Yeah.
humble people, and I define humility as teachable.
Right.
So and I put myself in that category.
Okay.
I'm a very teachable person. I don't get offended because I feel like you're probably trying to help me with something.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I want to hear how this went forward.
Okay. No problem.
It's the 4th of July, 2024, and my guest is Ricky C. Simmons, and we're going to hear more about his career in drugs and alcohol and going to prison, and finally how he spends his life now serving the Lord and helping the youth of America. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and if I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job, and I couldn't do it without you. I also thank the good folks at DivineTruthChristianStore.com. They are my worldwide sponsors, and anytime you need something, look it up. DivineTruthChristianStore.com.